Okay, here we are looking again at the T-maxx. One thing I wanted to point out with this particular T-maxx, I've had it for a long time, and I had a Pico 26 that I got great mileage out of. I probably ran 8 gallons of fuel through it, and then I blew that motor finally, and then I put a Pico 28 in it, and it was ripping great. But I had this 2200 kV Onyx motor with the speed control combo. They're waterproof. I know a lot of people like the Mambas or whatever it is you happen to like. This is just what I had that I decided that I was going to try and put into this T-maxx. One thing about this T-maxx is years ago, this is actually a dynamite chassis, and it's about, if you look close, it's about an inch and a half longer. Now with this particular conversion, we've got this inch and a half right here, so on the stock chassis it'll work fine. You won't have quite as much space for the radio and control equipment, but I think there's plenty of space to do. Now, as what I did here for my receiver box is I took some of the stilts, the towers that the throttle servo typically mounts on. I drilled a couple holes in the bottom of my receiver box and mounted them to those stilts, and it mounts very securely. It helps me put the weight where I want. Another thing is with these battery mounts, I can actually move the batteries forward or rearward. They're in super tight, they're not going anywhere. And so if I move those batteries forward or rearward, I can adjust the car's balance. Right now I've got it set just about right. It's in air controls, good. It's real good. It's biting down. It's tracking extremely well. I'm really happy about that. As far as the metal gears, I mean, the good thing about it is the transmission is bulletproof. Now to go and put RPM or Robinson Racing gears in your transmission for all the gear set, they don't sell a single speed set, so it does end up costing quite a bit, but I'm not worried about it. If I have my slipper clutch a little too tight, it's not going to matter. Then I think then the weak point becomes either in the front and rear differentials or the outside CVDs. But I tend to set my slipper clutch light to begin with, and then just slowly tension it up to where I'm getting a little bit of slip when I need it to try and protect the drivetrain, but still get enough bite to where it'll take off and do its thing. Now with the T-maxxes that will have this stock chassis, they'll want to wheelie a lot more. This one, with the extra length that it has, it's not lifting the front too bad. It still is a lot, but it's not real bad. I was talking before about how I put the 20-tooth pinion on it, and it definitely gave me more of the top end that I wanted than the 18 that I was running. I monitored my temperatures after a good run, and my temperatures are still so low. I think that I can probably go 21, 22 and see what that does until I start getting a little bit of a temperature build up. As far as my speed control right now, I've got my burst set on 5, so I'm about halfway into my burst, and I've got my timing on, it's like position 5, so I may end up taking the timing of the motor down, and I might increase my burst just to see kind of how that balances out as far as the speed control settings go. So as of right now, the truck's super dependable. It's flying. It literally hauls. Yeah, you know what. These battery mounts, what these are is they're two 5,000 milliamp lipos. They're 25C. I would like to have a little higher C rating. I have a 4-cell battery that's 56 at 60C, but I don't think that the 4-cell single battery would balance out as far as the weight goes quite as well as what the 2-packs do. And then what I did was I just did a series Dean's connector, so I could take both of my batteries and put them in series and run them into the single Dean's connector that goes into the speed control. So that works out real well. I probably will put a fan. a cooling fan on my heatsink back on this motor, or even put a different heatsink on it just to try and keep those temperatures down as much as possible. So I'll shoot some video of it actually in action and running, but as of this point the thing is flying. It's really cruising along well, and I'm extremely happy with it. I can run it at night. It doesn't make as much noise as the gas motor, obviously, and there it is. So I'm going to do a whole chart on what our gear ratios are. This is a 72 tooth spur gear with, again, a Robinson slipper clutch on it. I've just had a lot of good success with those. You really do have to be careful with tightening these nuts on these if you decide to use one of these slipper clutches. If you use the Traxxas one with the metal gear, I believe you can get it to work. I just have had a hard time getting the spur gear to stay balanced with the little dowel slipper pads that go in the Traxxas style. I'm sure somebody messes with it enough they can find success that way. And then obviously, as with any car, you're always working on your suspension to try and dial it in to the weight and your spring rates and whatever pistons and viscosity of shock coils you're using. But right now I've got this one balanced out really well. I'm going to do some weight comparisons and see where my weight actually came through with the electric setup versus the gas setup, and I'll post that too and let you guys know. And other than that, there just goes to show you can make these T-maxxes fly with our brushless motors and our LiPo batteries. I think it's as fast as it was with the 28 Pico in it. So there it is. It works. It flies. Excellent. I'm super happy about it.